Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today together again, videos always, updates always for you here on the channel. Remember, it's less than 2 weeks to go to the end of the summer transfer window, so stay tuned here for all the very latest, for all the news, because it's gonna be crazy busy these days, these hours, and so stay tuned for absolutely everything on the transfer market. Also because sometimes there are behind the scenes stories, sometimes there are big bombas coming directly from those involved now that the big leagues are restarting. Jose Mourinho spoke to El Chiringuito in the recent hours and confirmed we made an offer, an important offer to Rodri. So Real Madrid tried. Mourinho confirms the story, but he says Rodri had doubts. I spoke to Rodri, Mourinho says, and Rodri had doubts. And so to see Rodri having doubts created me doubts. That's what Mourinho mentions. Real Madrid are on a different planet, he said. We don't want here players who are thinking about it. So Mourinho sent a very clear message about that, but confirming the story. And also, guys, as we are talking about Real Madrid and Barcelona, it's been Tuesday, the Rodri day in Barcelona. Talking about Barca, we need to clarify once again for the many questions we are receiving about Julian Alvarez. In reality, guys, I know in the last hours the reports are now Barcelona believe that 90%, 99% it's over for Julian, but the reality is that absolutely nothing has changed over the last 24 hours. The reality is that Barcelona have been waiting and hoping and trying to understand if there was even a little way to enter into this deal till the very end, but the feeling and the message coming from Atletico Madrid, not just in public, and in public it's been very strong, because don't forget that the CEO, Miguel Angel Gil, sent a very clear message publicly about Julian Alvarez. But even in private, in all the conversations they had with the player and with his agent, Atletico Madrid always made clear that they were not gonna sell Julian Alvarez, especially to Barcelona. So the message coming from Atletico Madrid, it's always been very strong, very clear. And so for Barcelona, nothing has changed. Apart from waiting and waiting and waiting, in terms of concrete updates, nothing has changed. From Atletico Madrid, they make it very clear. The story is over. The deal is off. And it's not just Atletico Madrid, it's the manager of Atletico Madrid. And we all know, we all who follow football, that Diego Simeone is not just a manager, it's Diego Simeone, is the face of Atletico Madrid. And when Simeone goes public and says, the owners spoke and said that the player is staying, this is like going to court. Simeone says that there is no way back. Well, this way, in public, in private, with the coach, with the CEO, Atletico Madrid position looks absolutely clear. Now, obviously, many people trying to understand who is going to be the backup option for Barcelona. For sure, Barca are still exploring the strikers market. Let me clarify something on Luis Suarez. On Luis Suarez, I can confirm that around 10 days ago, Barcelona had contact with people from the players' camp to understand the situation. But then the point is that Sporting keep asking 80 million euros, the value of the release clause. So on Luis Suarez, the denials are because Sporting are asking big money, 80 million euros. And at the moment, Barcelona consider that too high as a price. Then, should the price change, we will see. But at the moment, from Barcelona, still no move because of the price. Many questions on Tresoldi tonight. Striker for Bruges, talented. He was in the list at Atletico Madrid a few months ago. He was in the list at Roma a few months ago. So a player appreciated by several clubs. But at the moment, I don't have any concrete confirmation on Barcelona working on a deal for Tresoldi. So at the moment, I cannot confirm his name. As soon as I will have updates for you, I will let you know more. But at this stage, Tresoldi is not something considered concrete from those close to the deal. In terms of striker, guys, that's a separate story. Obviously, I'm not linking this to Barcelona. I want to clarify that. But I think we should keep an eye on Joshua Zirkzee. Again, I'm not talking about Barcelona, but in general in the market, because there is some movement around the Manchester United striker. There is some interest, again, from Italy and not only. If Manchester United, from now to the end of the window, decide to let Joshua Zirkzee go on loan with a buy clause, eventually there could be movements for the Dutch striker. So let's see what's going to happen there. At the moment, it's about calls from clubs trying to understand the situation, but Joshua Zirkzee could be an interesting name to follow from now to the end of the window, depending on the conditions of the deal. Obviously, Obviously, if Zirkzee goes for Man United, that would mean adding one more striker, so one more player up front. If Zirkzee goes, we have to see what's going to happen. For Zirkzee, every single window there is movement, and then he ends up staying. Let's see what's going to be the case in this story, in this transfer window, for the Dutch striker, who is appreciated by several clubs. Eventually, for Man United, would be one more surprise, because the striker position was not something that Man United were prioritizing in this window. Now the focus was more on left back, eventually midfielder, but if Zirkzee goes, striker could be another position, surprise position to follow. Many questions I'm receiving from you on Miles Lewis-Skelly. Guys, on Lewis-Skelly, I'm told that the player wants to stay at Arsenal, that the player is in love with Arsenal. Then, if Arsenal decide to sell the player and to tell him, okay, you can go, in that case, Man United and other clubs could be very interested in the boy. Man United like Miles Lewis-Skelly, and let me say, who doesn't like Miles Lewis-Skelly? Fantastic talent. But at the moment, the player absolutely wants to stay at Arsenal, and there is no movement happening. If Arsenal, from now to the end of the window, decide to open the door to make money, to make profit, for whatever reason, in that case, United could be one of the clubs interested. But again, it's important to say that the boy absolutely wants to stay at Arsenal and is happy at Arsenal. Talking about wingers, two quick things. The first one, Rio Ngumoha. For Rio, conversations are expected to accelerate over new contract in the next weeks, I would say, because Rio is going to turn 18 years old at the end of August, and then Liverpool are prepared to discuss a new professional contract, something important for Rio. Bayern were never an option in this summer transfer window. That story was way too much in the media, because for Liverpool the player was never for sale. So that was really a non-story, in the sense that for Liverpool, Rio was never going to leave. And then, in terms of wingers, I think we should keep close eye to the situation of Pedro Neto, because a few weeks ago Manchester City called, but believing that the price is too high. Tottenham have Pedro Neto on their list if the Savinho deal doesn't happen. So Pedro Neto is on Tottenham list and remains on Tottenham list in case something happens and Savinho doesn't join. And then Pedro Neto is on the list at Al Hilal as a possibility, also in this case, depending on opportunities. Is not the only name for Al Hilal, but is a name. So let's see about this domino of wingers, but for sure Pedro Neto want to watch if those clubs will bring the money recasted by Chelsea. So guys, I think we said everything. On this and much more, we will be together in the next hours and days. It's going to be busy. So I remind you guys to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Ciao.